The combat arena was a large circular platform surrounded by hundreds of watching Exorthani. Samantha stood on one side, wearing her original clothes from Earth. Across from her, Admiral Zaneth towered in ceremonial armor that gleamed under the bright lights. The other three humans, Alan, Diane, and Keith, were brought in under guard to witness the fight. Their faces showed worry but also pride when they saw Samantha standing tall and unafraid. Commander Vexlor stepped forward to announce the terms. By the ancient right of challenge, combat will continue until surrender or incapacitation. No weapons are permitted. Dr. Nariel approached Samantha before stepping back. "This is madness," the scientist whispered. "You cannot win." "Winning isn't always about beating the other person," Samantha replied quietly. The Admiral removed his outer armor, revealing a muscular frame nearly twice Samantha's size. His crystalline filaments glowed with energy. A tone sounded, signaling the start of combat. Zaneth moved with surprising speed for his size, crossing the arena in seconds. Samantha barely dodged his first strike, rolling away as his fist cracked the floor where she had stood. She couldn't match his strength or reach. But she had other advantages: agility, flexibility, and years of combat training against larger opponents. Samantha stayed in constant motion, making herself a difficult target. When Zaneth lunged again, she used his momentum against him, landing a solid kick to his knee joint. The Admiral grunted in pain but recovered quickly. His next blow caught Samantha's shoulder, sending her sprawling. Pain shot through her arm. Throughout the ship, every screen showed the combat. Worker castes watched in disbelief as the small human rose again, refusing to stay down. "Submit," Zaneth demanded, circling her. "Not today," Samantha replied, ducking under his next attack and striking his midsection. The fight continued for 20 minutes. Samantha was battered and bleeding, but the Admiral was also showing signs of fatigue and frustration. His attacks grew wilder as she continued to evade his full strength. "Why won't you admit defeat?" he asked during a brief pause, his breathing heavy. "Because that's not what humans do," Samantha answered, wiping blood from her lip. "We don't surrender just because someone is stronger." Something like respect flickered in the Admiral's eyes. Then he launched a final devastating attack. Samantha tried to dodge, but wasn't fast enough. His blow caught her squarely, sending her crashing to the floor. The arena fell silent as she lay motionless. Zaneth approached, standing over her. Samantha's body screamed with pain, but she forced herself to move. Slowly, impossibly, she rose to her feet again. Blood trickled from a cut above her eye, but her gaze remained steady and defiant. A murmur ran through the watching crowd. Zaneth raised his hand for a final strike, one that would surely end the fight. Samantha stood her ground, unblinking, unafraid. The Admiral's hand halted midair. For 3 heartbeats, they stared at each other. Then, to everyone's shock, Zaneth lowered his arm. "Enough," he said. "I declare this combat complete." Commander Vexlor stepped forward, confused. "Admiral, there is no surrender or incapacitation." "There is another outcome not spoken in the ancient texts," Zaneth replied loudly, ensuring all could hear. "Recognition." He turned to address the watching crowd. "This human has shown courage and resilience worthy of recognition. The Empire has always valued strength. Today we have witnessed it in an unexpected form." Whispers spread through the arena. The Admiral faced Samantha again. "The invasion of Earth is suspended," he announced. "Instead, I will recommend to the Imperial Council that we open diplomatic relations. Humans are not to be conquered. They are to be understood." Throughout the ship, cheers erupted from the worker castes. The 4 humans exchanged looks of disbelief and hope. Dr. Nariel approached with a medical device. "Your injuries will heal," Samantha finished, her eyes still on the Admiral. "What happens now?" "You and your companions will return to Earth as envoys," Zaneth said. "Tell your leaders what you have seen. Prepare them for our arrival. not as conquerors, but as potential allies. Samantha nodded, then finally allowed herself to smile. She had come to the stars as a captive, but would return as something far more important, the first human ambassador to the stars. One woman's fearlessness had indeed shaken an empire to its core, and, in doing so, changed the destiny of two species forever. The humans' plan worked better than Samantha had hoped. Using Diane's knowledge of the ventilation system and Alan's understanding of the alien computer interfaces, they caused a ship-wide security breach. Alarms blared throughout the vessel. "Status report," Admiral Zaneth demanded, striding onto the command deck. "Unknown, Admiral," a technician responded. "The information system is releasing classified files to all levels of the ship." "Impossible. Lower castes don't have access to classified data." "They do now," the technician said. "Files about Earth, the invasion plans, everything. It's being transmitted to every terminal on the ship." Zaneth's crystalline filaments bristled with rage. "The humans. Isolate the observation chamber immediately." By the time guards arrived at the chamber, the damage was done. Information about Earth, its resources, its people, its potential as an ally rather than a conquered world, had spread throughout the ship. Most importantly, the lower castes now knew about the Empire's fears regarding humans' immunity to the compliance field. Guards dragged the four humans before Admiral Zaneth, his multifaceted eyes fixed on Samantha. "You have committed an act of war against the Empire," he said coldly. "You committed the first act of war when you abducted us and planned to invade our world," Samantha replied, standing tall despite her restraints. "Your little rebellion changes nothing. The Imperial fleet will still come for Earth." "Maybe," Samantha agreed. "But now your entire crew knows you're afraid of us. That humans can resist your control. How long before they start wondering what else the Imperial Corps has lied about?" A muscle twitched in Zaneth's face, the first sign of genuine emotion Samantha had seen from him. "Take them to separate maximum security cells," he ordered. "I will deal with this human myself." Later, alone in her new cell, Samantha heard the door slide open. Admiral Zaneth entered, dismissing the guards with a gesture. "You've created quite a problem, Samantha Kelly," he said, using her full name for the first time. "Reports of unrest among the worker castes. Questions from the lower officers. Even the Imperial Council is divided on how to proceed. Sounds like progress to me. The invasion will still happen. But first, an example must be made." His voice hardened. "Tomorrow, you will be publicly interrogated and executed. Your fellow humans will watch, as will the entire crew. They must learn the price of defiance." Samantha studied him carefully, his posture, his tone. She recognized something fundamental about Xorthani culture that she could use. "I challenge you," she said simply. Zaneth paused. "What did you say?" "I challenge you to personal combat. Just you and me." The Admiral's filaments rippled with shock. "How do you know of the ancient right of challenge?" "I didn't," Samantha admitted. "But every warrior culture has something similar. Trial by combat. A way for the weak to challenge the strong with honor. You are not Xorthani. The ancient right does not apply to you." "Afraid?" Samantha asked quietly. The word hung in the air between them. In that moment, Samantha knew she had him. No warrior, especially one of his rank, could ignore such a direct challenge to his courage. The council would never allow it, he said, but his resolve was weakening. "Broadcast it to the entire ship," Samantha pressed. "Show everyone the mighty Admiral isn't afraid to face a single human in fair combat. If you win, you prove humans are nothing to fear." "If I win." She left the sentence unfinished. Zaneth was silent for a long moment. "You cannot possibly win. I am stronger, faster, trained in combat since birth." Samantha smiled. "Then you have nothing to worry about." After the Admiral left, Samantha sat on the floor of her cell, controlling her breathing. The challenge was a desperate gamble. She couldn't possibly match the Admiral's physical strength. But this wasn't about winning through force. This was about showing the entire empire that humans would never surrender, never accept conquest, that even when completely outmatched, they would still fight. And sometimes, the fight itself was more important than the outcome. Samantha was escorted to a new section of the ship. Large doors slid open to reveal a circular room with a platform in the center. Around it stood several aliens wearing ornate armor similar to Admiral Zaneth's. The Imperial Council, she guessed. "Human Samantha Kelly," announced Zaneth. "You will answer the Council's questions truthfully." Samantha stepped onto the platform. "I'm happy to share the truth about humanity." For 2 hours, she answered their questions about Earth's military, governments, and technology. She explained nuclear weapons, describing their destructive power. She detailed guerrilla warfare tactics that had defeated technologically superior forces throughout human history. Most importantly, she emphasized humanity's greatest strength: adaptability. "Humans reverse engineer any technology they encounter," she told them. "Give us a piece of your equipment, and within years, maybe months, we'll not only understand it but improve it." The council members shifted uncomfortably. "Your claims seem exaggerated," said Councillor Vexthar. "No species adapts that quickly." "Then why am I here?" Samantha asked. "Why did your compliance field fail on me? Why study humans at all if we're so primitive?" No one answered. As the guards returned her to her cell, Samantha noticed something unexpected. Other cells along the corridor now held humans. In one, a man with glasses and beard paced nervously. Another held a dark-haired woman who stared defiantly at the guards. A third contained a muscular man sitting calmly on the floor. "You've been busy," Samantha commented to Vexilor, who walked beside her. "After your unusual responses, the Science Directorate ordered additional specimens collected for comparative study. You kidnapped more people from Earth," she translated, anger rising. "Big mistake." "Your threats are meaningless," Vexilor said, but his tone lacked conviction. When they reached her cell, Dr. Neriel was waiting. "Commander, the Admiral has approved the group interaction experiment. Prepare the observation chamber." Vexilor seemed surprised. "Now, is that wise?" "The Admiral believes studying human group dynamics will provide essential information for the invasion strategy." An hour later, Samantha was brought to a large chamber with 3 other humans. They eyed each other cautiously. "I'm Samantha Kelly," she said once the guards left. "Alan Winters," said the bearded man. "Professor of physics at MIT. Abducted from my home 3 days ago." "Diane Rodriguez," said the dark-haired woman. "Structural engineer. They took me from a job site in Arizona." Keith Bennett, the muscular man, introduced himself. "Commercial pilot. Grabbed me between flights in Denver. They're studying us," Samantha explained. "Planning an invasion of Earth." "Those alien bastards," Diane spat. "They'd been doing tests on me for days." "Me too," Keith said. "Trying to figure out how we think, how we react to stress." Alan adjusted his glasses. "They seem particularly interested in our problem-solving abilities. They've had me working on mathematical equations and physics problems." Samantha lowered her voice. "Listen carefully. We're being watched. The Empire has conquered 37 worlds using something called a compliance field. It doesn't work properly on humans, which has them worried." "That explains the neural scan they kept repeating on me," Alan said. "We need to work together," Samantha continued. "Show them humanity's strength isn't just individual resistance. It's our ability to cooperate without being forced to." "What's the plan?" Keith asked. "First, we share information. Everything we've learned about their ship, their technology, their society. I've mapped part of the ventilation system," Diane offered. "The structural design has weaknesses. Their computer interfaces respond to specific tonal patterns," Alan added. "I've been observing the guards." As they pooled their knowledge, Samantha noticed something remarkable. Despite their different backgrounds and the stress of captivity, they instantly formed a cohesive unit. No power struggles, no panic, just focused cooperation. Outside the chamber, Admiral Zaneth watched with growing concern. The humans weren't fighting for dominance or breaking down in fear. They were organizing, strategizing, preparing. Most troubling, he murmured to Nariel. They cooperate naturally, without hierarchy or coercion. Unlike any species we've encountered, Nariel agreed. Perhaps the counselor was wrong to dismiss the humans' warnings. In the observation chamber, Samantha smiled. The aliens didn't understand what they were witnessing. The beginning of a resistance that would shake their empire to its core. Admiral Zaneth stood before the Imperial Council's holographic projections. 6 high-ranking Exorthani officials floated as shimmering images around him. "Explain this emergency session, Admiral," demanded Councillor Vexthar, the oldest member. "Our time is valuable." "Honored Council, I bring concerning information about the Earth acquisition," Zaneth said. "The human female we captured has demonstrated abilities that contradict our intelligence reports." He activated a display showing Samantha breaking free from the guards. Another showed her enduring 5 Earth gravities. "One exceptional specimen does not change our assessment," said another counselor dismissively. "With respect, the human statements about Earth history suggest otherwise." Zaneth played an audio recording from Samantha's latest interrogation. "You think you understand humans because you've observed us," Samantha's voice echoed. "But watching isn't knowing. Humans have fought wars that killed millions of our own kind. We've survived plagues, ice ages, and disasters. We adapt. We invent. We overcome. Your compliance technology failed on me not because I'm special, but because humans have endured far worse than anything you can create." The council chambers fell silent. "We verified her claims," Zaneth continued. "Earth's history contains conflicts where technologically inferior forces defeated superior ones through adaptability and determination. Their World War II, their Vietnam conflict, their Afghanistan resistance." "Troubling," admitted Councillor Vexthar. "Perhaps standard conquest protocols require adjustment." For the first time in centuries, the Imperial Council began to debate an invasion plan. Meanwhile, in Samantha's cell, a different kind of resistance was forming. A maintenance worker entered to repair a malfunctioning light panel. The Exorthani was smaller than the guards, with duller skin and no glowing filaments. A member of the worker caste, Samantha realized. The alien worked silently, occasionally glancing at her with what seemed like curiosity. "Hello," Samantha said softly. "I'm Samantha." The worker flinched, looking around nervously before responding. Workers do not speak with specimens. "I won't tell if you won't," Samantha said with a smile. "What's your name?" A pause. "Tyrell." "Nice to meet you, Tyrell. How long have you worked on this ship?" 7 cycles. The worker continued repairing but seemed less tense. "You are the human everyone speaks of, the one who fought the guards. News travels fast. The lower decks talk of little else. A specimen who resisted the compliance field. Some say it is impossible." Samantha leaned closer. "On Earth, we have a saying. Nothing is impossible until it's done." Tyrell's multifaceted eyes blinked rapidly. "A strange concept. How are workers treated in the Empire?" Samantha asked. The aliens' movements slowed. "We serve. It is our purpose. And are you treated well for your service?" Tyrell didn't answer immediately. "We receive what we need to function. On Earth, many humans believe everyone deserves respect and fair treatment, regardless of their job or position. Even workers." Tyrell seemed genuinely confused. "Especially workers. Without you, nothing gets done right. Ships don't fly, systems don't work. Sounds pretty important to me." The door slid open. Commander Vexlor entered, and Tyrell immediately lowered their head, backing away from Samantha. "Maintenance complete, Commander," Tyrell said, voice flat and subservient. "Leave us," Vexlor ordered. As Tyrell hurried out, they cast one last look at Samantha, a look that contained something new. Curiosity, perhaps, or something more dangerous to the Empire? Doubt. Vexlore watched the worker leave, then turned to Samantha. The Admiral requests your presence. The Council has questions about Earth's military capabilities. Happy to help, Samantha said, standing up. But I'm not sure your leaders will like what I have to tell them. You will tell them what they wish to know, Vexlore said sharply. Of course, Samantha agreed, hiding her smile. I'll tell them exactly what they need to hear. As the guards escorted her through the ship's corridors, she noticed how the worker caste aliens stopped to watch her pass. Word had indeed spread. The fearless human who defied the Empire's technology. A small seed of resistance, planted in fertile ground. Samantha straightened her shoulders. The Council wanted to know about Earth's military capabilities. She would give them the full, terrifying truth. Not just about Earth's weapons, but about the indomitable human spirit that made them truly dangerous. The Empire had no idea what they were dealing with. Samantha woke in a different cell. This one was larger, with actual furniture, a bed-like platform, and something resembling a chair. The barrier still shimmered at the front, but now she could see beyond it into a laboratory filled with strange equipment. 4 aliens worked there. Dr. Nariel, Commander Vexlore, Admiral Zaneth, and a 4th she hadn't seen before. Our subject is awake, said Nariel, noticing her first. Admiral Zaneth approached the barrier. Up close, he was even more imposing, nearly 8 feet tall, with crystalline filaments that glowed with their own light. His multifaceted eyes studied her with cold intelligence. Human Samantha Kelly, he said, you have created quite a problem for us. Samantha sat up slowly. Every muscle ached from whatever they had used to subdue her. Happy to help, she replied. Your resistance to the compliance field is unprecedented. For 50,000 cycles, no species has been able to overcome it. Yet you did so with apparent ease. Maybe you should rethink your invasion plans, Samantha suggested. The Admiral made a gesture that might have been amusement. One anomalous human does not change the Empire's plans. But you do raise questions about our intelligence on your species. The unfamiliar alien stepped forward. Admiral, with your permission, I would like to begin the physical capability tests. Proceed, Science Director Krelvex. The barrier shimmered and vanished. 2 guards entered, carrying restraints that looked like glowing ropes. Samantha considered fighting but knew she wouldn't win this time. Better to conserve energy and gather more information. She allowed them to bind her hands and feet, then lead her to a large circular platform in the center of the laboratory. The restraints anchored to the platform, holding her in place. Begin Sequence 1, ordered Krelvex. Panels in the floor opened. Strange machinery rose around Samantha. A humming noise filled the air, and she felt pressure building, gravity increasing. Her body grew heavy, pushing her down toward the platform. 2 Earth gravities, announced Nariel, monitoring a screen. Subject showing minimal distress. The pressure increased. Samantha's legs trembled with the effort to remain standing, but she refused to fall. 3 Earth gravities. Heart rate elevated but within acceptable parameters. By 5 Earth gravities, Samantha was on her knees, every breath a struggle. Still, she kept her head up, eyes locked on Admiral Zaneth. Remarkable endurance, Nariel noted. Most species collapse at 3. The pressure suddenly released. Samantha gasped as normal gravity returned, her body feeling strangely light. Next test, Krelvex ordered. The tests continued for hours. Heat tolerance, cold tolerance, reaction time, problem solving under stress, pain response. Through it all, Samantha held back, showing them enough to satisfy their curiosity, but hiding her true capabilities. When they finally returned her to the cell, she was exhausted but satisfied. She had learned much. The human requires rest, said Dr. Nariel. We will continue tomorrow. The others left, but Nariel remained behind, studying readings on a screen. Samantha noticed something different about this alien. a hesitation in their movements, a softness in their voice when they spoke to her. "Dr. Nariel," she called. "May I ask you something?" The alien approached cautiously. "You may ask. I may not answer. Why is the Empire so interested in Earth? There must be other planets with resources." Nariel glanced around, ensuring they were alone. Earth sits at a strategic location between three galactic arms. Controlling it would secure trade routes and defensive positions. But also, the alien hesitated. "Also what?" "Your species evolves quickly. The Empire fears what humans might become if left unchecked. The Empress herself ordered your world's assessment accelerated." Samantha processed this. Fear. The mighty Empire feared humanity's potential. "How many worlds has the Empire conquered?" she asked. 37 major systems, hundreds of colony worlds. "And how do they control so many worlds?" Nariel's filaments rippled. "The control castes manage daily operations. Worker castes provide labor. All serve the Imperial core. So the Empire has a weak point. Its structure depends on the lower castes doing what they're told." Nariel stepped back. "I have said too much. Rest now, human. Tomorrow will bring more tests." As the alien left, Samantha smiled to herself. She now understood the Empire better, its strengths, its fears, and most importantly, its vulnerabilities. Knowledge was power, and she was gathering plenty of both. 3 days passed, by Samantha's best guess. She had eaten the strange blue food, cautiously at first, then with more confidence when it caused no ill effects. It tasted like bland oatmeal that gave her strength. She would need it. The aliens maintained a regular schedule. Dr. Nariel came each morning for tests, scanning her with devices that hummed and glowed. Commander Vexlor appeared each afternoon for questioning. Guards changed twice daily. Samantha noticed something important. The barrier weakened slightly during guard changes. The shimmer dimmed for exactly 4 seconds. Not enough time to escape, yet, but knowledge worth having. Today, Vexlor entered with 2 guards. "Human, you will be transferred to the main research facility. Prepare yourself." Samantha stood in the center of her cell, apparently cooperative. "Where are we going?" "The Imperial Science Academy on Xorthal Prime. You will join other specimens there." Vexlor's tone suggested he was tired of her questions. This was her chance. If they moved her to their homeworld, escape would become impossible. "Will there be other humans?" she asked, stepping closer to the barrier. "Yes, 4 others. You will be studied together." Samantha's heart raced. Other captives from Earth needed her help. She had to act now. The barrier shimmered and disappeared. 1 guard entered, holding a device that looked like a thin metal rod. The second guard remained outside with Vexlor. "Stand still for restraint application," the guard ordered. Samantha nodded, compliant. The guard approached. She noted his movements, confident but careless. He assumed the compliance field Nariel had mentioned would keep her docile. They had never seen a human resist it before. When the guard was 2 steps away, Samantha launched her attack. She grabbed the food container, now empty but still solid, and swung it hard at the guard's face. The impact made a satisfying crack against his head. The guard staggered backward. Samantha didn't hesitate. She delivered a swift kick to his knee joint, which bent sideways, not forward like a human's, and heard it snap. The guard fell, dropping the metal rod. Samantha snatched it up. The second guard rushed into the cell. She swung the rod at him, and it emitted a crackling energy that sent the guard convulsing to the floor. "Impossible," Vexlor shouted, backing away. "The compliance field should prevent." Samantha leaped through the cell entrance, swinging the rod at Vexlor. He ducked with surprising speed and slammed his hand on a wall panel. Alarms blared. She knew she couldn't escape the ship. Not yet, but she could learn more. Samantha sprinted down the corridor, following the path she'd seen guards take. She needed a control room, a data terminal, anything to give her information about the ship and their plans. 2 more guards appeared ahead. She changed direction, ducking into a side passage. The walls here had different markings. Maintenance access, maybe. She tried a door, and it slid open. Inside was a room filled with glowing screens, some kind of control center. No aliens inside. They must have responded to the alarm. Samantha rushed to the nearest terminal. Strange symbols flashed across the screen. The neural translator that let her understand their speech didn't help with their writing. But one screen showed what looked like a map, the ship's layout. She studied it quickly, memorizing what she could. The ship was enormous, with multiple levels. She found what might be the holding cells for other humans, 3 decks below. The doors slid open behind her. Samantha whirled, rod raised. 6 guards entered, weapons drawn. Behind them came an alien taller than Vexillor, wearing ornate armor that shimmered with power. Most fascinating, the new alien said, "I am Admiral Xaneth. You have caused quite a disturbance, human." "Just getting started," Samantha replied, gripping the rod tighter. The Admiral made a gesture. Something hit Samantha from behind, a guard she hadn't seen. Pain shot through her body. Her muscles locked up, and she fell. As darkness claimed her again, she heard the Admiral say, "No sedation this time. I want to speak with this one when she wakes. She will explain how she resisted the compliance field." Samantha's last thought was satisfaction. She had failed to escape, but succeeded in something more important. She had made them afraid. Samantha woke to the sound of voices. Her mind felt clearer this time. The fog lifted. She kept her eyes closed and her breathing steady, pretending to still be asleep. The voices continued, unaware of her consciousness. "The human female's brain activity is most unusual," Commander Vexillor said, a high-pitched voice. "She processes fear differently than the other Earth specimens we have studied." "Explain," demanded a deeper voice that Samantha recognized as the commander. "Most creatures show panic when captured. This one shows calculation. See these neural patterns. She is not afraid. She is planning." Samantha carefully opened one eye a tiny bit. 2 of the tall, shimmering aliens stood with their backs to her, studying a floating screen of light. The images on it looked like brain scans. "Could she be defective?" asked Vexillor. "No, Commander. Our research shows this behavior in Earth's military humans. They are trained for combat and capture situations. We did not know this one was a soldier. The selection team missed this detail." Vexillor made a sharp gesture. "This complicates our assessment. The Empress wants accurate predictions of how humans will respond to the invasion. If they all react like this one." "They will not," the other alien assured. "Our data from 50 Earth years of observation confirms most humans panic easily. This one is an outlier." Samantha closed her eye as Vexillor turned toward her cell. The invasion. They were planning to attack Earth. "Wake her," Vexillor ordered. "I wish to question her myself." A humming sound filled the room. Samantha felt a tingling sensation wash over her body. She pretended to slowly wake up, stretching and blinking as if confused. "Human," Vexillor addressed her through the barrier. "You will answer our questions." Samantha stood up, studying her captors more carefully now. Their technology, their stance, everything about them screamed advanced civilization. But they had weaknesses. Everyone did. "I have questions of my own," she said. "Where am I? Who are you people?" The commander's crystalline filaments stiffened. "You are aboard the Imperial vessel Starfire. I am Commander Vexillor of the Exorthani Empire. You have been selected for study." "The Exorthani Empire," Samantha repeated, testing the strange words. "And what exactly are you studying?" "Human response patterns. Your species has developed faster than anticipated. The Empress requires updated information before we proceed." Samantha walked closer to the barrier, noting how it shimmered more intensely as she approached. "Proceed with what?" Vexillor seemed to consider whether to answer, then made a dismissive gesture. It matters not what you know. Your world has been under observation for centuries. Its resources and position are valuable to the Empire. The timeline for acquisition has been moved forward due to your rapid technological advancement. Acquisition, Samantha said flatly. You mean invasion. A primitive term, but accurate enough. The smaller alien stepped forward. Commander, this subject could provide valuable insights into human military response strategies. Vexlor considered this. Dr. Nariel is correct. Human, you will tell us about Earth's defenses and how your soldiers would respond to superior forces. Samantha smiled. They clearly didn't understand humans at all if they thought she'd help them. But she could use this. I might be willing to share some information, she said carefully. But first, I need to understand what I'm dealing with. How large is this empire of yours? How many ships do you have? Vexlor made a sound that might have been a laugh. Your primitive attempts at gathering intelligence are amusing. You will receive no such information. Then we're at an impasse, Samantha said. Because I won't tell you anything about Earth's defenses. Dr. Nariel touched a control panel. Perhaps food will make the human more cooperative. Their species requires frequent nourishment. A small opening appeared in the wall, and a container slid through. Inside was something that looked like blue gelatin. Eat, ordered Vexlor. We will continue this discussion after. Consider your position carefully, human. Cooperation would be beneficial for your future comfort. As they walked away, Samantha examined the food carefully, then the cell with renewed focus. She now understood three critical things. They were planning to invade Earth. They needed information from her. And most importantly, they still didn't realize who they were dealing with. She would use that to her advantage. Somehow, Samantha Kelly knelt beside fresh wolf tracks in the Montana wilderness. The early morning dew still clung to the grass around her campsite. She smiled, knowing the pack was close. After 3 years as a wildlife photographer, following her 8-year service as a Marine, she had developed a sixth sense for tracking predators. She adjusted her camera and checked her supplies. One more day in the wild before heading back to civilization. These moments of solitude were what she lived for. Just her against the elements, relying on skills honed during military survival training. The strange humming started just after sunset. At first, Samantha thought it might be a helicopter, but the sound had an odd, pulsing quality she'd never heard before. She stepped out of her tent and looked up. The sky rippled with light. Not the aurora. Something different. The humming grew louder, and the air around her campsite vibrated. Her skin tingled with static electricity. Samantha reached for her knife, a useless gesture against whatever was happening, but old habits died hard. What the hell is this? She whispered, as a column of blue-white light engulfed her. The ground disappeared beneath her feet. Her stomach lurched as gravity seemed to let go. Then darkness took her. The cold woke her. Samantha opened her eyes to find herself lying on a smooth metal floor that glowed with faint blue lines. She sat up slowly, her military training kicking in. Assess the situation. Find exits. Identify threats. The room was a perfect hexagon. No doors were visible. One wall appeared transparent, like glass, but gave off a slight shimmer that suggested it was something else entirely. Beyond it, shadowy figures moved. Samantha stood, fighting a wave of dizziness. She wore the same clothes from her campsite, but her knife and other tools were gone. I know you're watching, she called out, her voice steady. Whoever you are, you should know I don't appreciate being kidnapped. The figures beyond the transparent wall stopped moving. One stepped closer to the barrier, and Samantha got her first good look at her captors. It or they stood nearly 7 feet tall. Their body was humanoid but too slender, with joints that bent at slightly wrong angles. The skin shimmered with an iridescent quality, shifting between blue and green under the strange lighting. Where a human would have hair, this being had what looked like crystalline filaments that caught the light. Its eyes were the most unsettling feature, large, multifaceted like an insect's, yet intelligent. Very intelligent. Samantha stared back, refusing to show fear. She'd faced down insurgents and survived 3 tours in combat zones. This was just another standoff. "Can you understand me?" she asked, approaching the barrier. "Because I'd like an explanation." The creature tilted its head, a gesture that seemed almost human. It raised a 6-fingered hand and pressed it against the barrier. The wall hummed, and suddenly Samantha could hear a voice in her head. "Specimen shows unusual calm. Neural patterns indicate minimal fear response despite cross-dimensional transportation trauma. Recommend increased security protocols." Another voice answered. "Agreed, Commander Vexlor. This human differs from our models. Perhaps the selection algorithm requires adjustment." Samantha realized they weren't speaking to her, but about her. She was being studied. Anger replaced her initial shock. "Hey, I can hear you. If you're going to talk about me, at least have the decency to include me in the conversation." The beings froze. The taller one, Commander Vexlor, apparently, stepped closer to the barrier. "The neural translator is active. Interesting. The human female should not be conscious yet, much less comprehending." Samantha folded her arms. "The human female has a name. Samantha Kelly, former U.S. Marine. And she'd like to know who you are and why she's here." The aliens exchanged glances. The commander made a gesture, and the barrier's shimmer intensified. "Sleep cycle reinitiated," the voice said. Samantha felt sudden drowsiness washing over her. She fought it, stumbling back from the barrier. "You'll find I don't. Go down. Easy," she mumbled as her knees buckled. Her last conscious thought was that these beings, whoever they were, had just made a very serious mistake. They had taken her from Earth, but they had not taken her strength. And when she woke again, they would learn what that meant.